Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video. Today it'll be the Disventure Camp All-Stars episode 20 review. Before this begins, a few things to note. This is just my personal opinion, and if you have different, that is completely fine. Background footage is not owned by me, it is owned by Omnition Cartoons. I do sections in my video to maintain organization and simplicity, and the sections for this video are the positives, negatives, and then the conclusion. Alrighty, without further delay, let's just get right into this.
How can any of you be rooting for Rhea? There was more room on these bleachers.
To begin with the positives, I've got to start off with the animation and voice acting. Both are done really well here. The animation obviously looks gorgeous, and the voice actors and actresses did a wonderful job with their characters. Additionally, Fiora was awesome this episode. Every time she was on screen, it was a blast, and I was hoping we'd see her on screen more. We did not. Yule was also great this episode. Turns out he didn't say anything to his, usual standard of horrible, and he was still extremely funny. Especially the cosmetology comment. I loved that. I don't know, I was laughing so hard. And then Ellie's one line. Look, I know it's one line, but it was just funny to me that they literally just went to Rhea's bench because, well, there was more room, so yeah. And additionally, I also really liked Ellie was somehow better this episode. And after me just not liking her episode after episode after episode, that is a pure miracle to me. So thank you, Ellie, for being a little better. Alrighty, with this all out of the way, let's just move right on to the negatives of the episode.
How can any of you be rooting for Rhea? There was more room on these bleachers.
Begin with the negatives. I'm going to be going from my most negative thing to the least negative thing, so I have something to look forward to at the end of this. So we're beginning with production as a whole and starting off with Emily's derailment. Emily had always been foreshadowed to be more villainous. That was always part of her character. She was never pure saint good. But she also was never cartoonishly evil or would pull a Rhea. Well, you think until this episode. Not only do they ruin the bond that Trevor and Emily had for no reason, as again, in episode 8, I think it was, Emily had a real bond with Trevor. She hugged him. Obviously, that doesn't show a real bond, but you could tell it was sincere. You could tell from all the scenes that she actually somewhat cared. And even in the greetings, you could argue this wasn't to, spoil this plot twist, but she showed she genuinely cared in the Emily greetings. But that was all thrown out the window here when she, pulls a Rhea and pushes him off a cliff. It ruins a really good and actually built up, which I can't say for terrific, dynamic for I don't know what reason, just to make her cartoonishly evil, I suppose? But who wanted a cartoonishly evil Emily? Because I sure didn't, and I don't think many others would want that. It also doesn't make much sense for her character. Because yeah, again, she was foreshadowed to be villainous in some aspects, but she never was fully cartoonishly evil to the point of attempted oofing on 7 people at a time. And plus, let's think about this here. How would this really benefit Emily? Emily's goal here is to cancel the Disventure Camp or get her career back. The only thing, and for Trevor to get Derek running back to him, at least that was originally her pitch. But let me make this clear. The only place that Trevor and Emily would be running to, again if Trevor helped with this plan, is jail. Because that's 7 people at a time. I don't know how Rhea got away with the Ada thing in season 2, but Emily's not going to get away with that no matter what. And that's not really, to me, the way to cancel Disventure Camp. They can always get a new cast, and they can always say that she fully sabotaged it too. And plus, what is getting rid of these people going to do for you? Specifically, none of these people have any connection to Crystal. Any contestant that had any close connection to Crystal would be Lake and Oliver, but he's technically not a contestant anymore, especially not an All-Stars, so we're just gonna ignore that. This is not gonna hurt Crystal that much. Personally, if your goal is to hurt Crystal, this isn't really gonna fully do it either. So no matter the way you slice it, this plan doesn't benefit Emily in any way, and it makes no sense in both her character and, again, her plan. No matter what you place it. And moving on to Trevor and Derek now. Oh, okay. I do not like them together because it was something called not built up. Trevor's side, fine. It was built up over time. That's okay, fine. We didn't get fully explained why he has a crush, but you know what? Fine. Derek is where all the buildup is missing here. Derek got like one montage scene, and you know what? Yeah, I like Trevor now. Even though he was with Crystal in some sort of way. Even if it was just a fling, he was with Crystal in some form of way. And additionally, he was giving her flowers every day, and we didn't see Derek's perspective on Trevor like this at all. It feels like it comes out of nowhere and just for some fan service that ruins Trevor and Emily for no apparent reason, and additionally isn't built up at all, so it doesn't feel satisfying. I would not be mad at all, to me anyway, if it was actually built up, but Derek's side is barely shown at all. And especially from the apology, it's like there's these story beats that need to happen without the build-up that is necessary for it to fully work. It just isn't there. And additionally, maybe it's just me, but I kind of viewed them as best friends. I was fine with, Trevor having a crush because we still had like 13 episodes to see. 13 episodes of a lot more to build up Derek's side, but we never got that. So in the end, it just feels like an underdeveloped fan service couple for no reason. And now we gotta move on to Crystal. Crystal, in the end, the issue comes at the very ending scene. Why is she fully okay with Derek and Trevor being together? That's my one question, because didn't Crystal tell Marcus a few episodes earlier talking about love and stuff like that? Wasn't she falling in love with Derek? Maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I watched the scenes wrong, but if that's the case, she should not be so okay with seeing them together regardless. And no, I'm not sure what her offer is gonna be. I am 99.9% sure she's offering them to host the show together, which makes me wonder why she welcomed Trevor back so quickly from an arm. I mean, you could argue it's because he saved the show. That's my guess, but still, I don't know. Either way, production was kind of a mess this episode, and in the end, bring Nina back. I need to see her more. Alright, moving on to the characters themselves. I'm going to be starting off with James here, just because I usually don't put James in negatives, but this episode was not his strong suit, in my opinion. So this episode is meant to be to build up James and Jake making up with the finale. But to that I say, the confessionals don't really help, or rather don't make any sense. Let's analyze them one by one. First off, the first James confessional is that Jake is more brave. Okay? I'd argue it is extremely brave to go up to somebody and tell them, your boyfriend is cheating on you. That is extremely brave. That wasn't the original issue with what Jake said. He was brave, but it was his delusionalness, I guess you could word it like that, I don't know how else to word it, that caused it. So if that's the angle, it doesn't work there either. And with this nice confessional, with the season 2 comparison, I don't think it fully works, because in the end, James and Aiden had a good bond that they kept building and building. But it was heartbreaking when they finally fought, when they needed to make amends. But here, Jake and Ellie have been fighting the entire darn season for no reason. I don't even know why they're fighting anymore. And given how wonderful amends they made Jake at the very beginning of the episode, the comparison doesn't work to me. I don't know, and I don't think it fully works with James. Maybe that's just my take. And since James got basically no screen time, this is basically all he got. But one more thing I do want to note. As a commenter said on my basic thoughts post, they made it frame like James actually had a choice. He chose Jake over Ellie, when in the end, no. His other choice was Rhea, who, by the way, left Aiden to go off a cliff. And you know how James feels about Aiden, so I don't think he'd be choosing Rhea in any circumstance. So, I don't know, I just also want to point that out. So, moving on to Rhea. Rhea, how fun, okay. Again, she was great with Yule. I'm going to just say that there. I know this is mostly negative, but when she was talking with Yule, she was great. Otherwise, her plan at the beginning of the episode literally made no sense to me. Okay, first off, A, how did she get a pen? Where did she get this? Etc., etc. B, the other two are idiots for believing this. I mean, it's just plot on where that helped Rhea out here. C, what the heck? Where'd she get another piece of paper? It doesn't make any sense. It isn't foreshadowed where she got any of this. And if she was formulating this over episodes, maybe she like steals a pen from the elimination ceremony, show it, and foreshadow this plan. Because it made it like, what's gonna happen? Or something like that. Or else it just feels like it's out of nowhere and just there to make sure Ellie and Jake have a wedge. For whatever reason, I don't know how that really contributed too much to the plot, but either way. And also, Rhea was never shown to get gems. I know this is a bigger issue for Ellie's elimination, and we will get to that, don't worry. But she never was shown to get gems. And especially with those toys, you'd think we need to see how she gets those gems. And it would show how she persevered through an obstacle. But I guess not. Again, one scene showing this would have fixed half of Allie's elimination, but regardless, she then plays the mind games with Ellie and throws a rock at her backpack, which it does show a rip. But shouldn't the gems be... Again, this is more for Allie's, but still, it feels like plot armor for Rhea. How fun. And additionally, she left like 4 more people to just attempt it. Oof, and then she just had one glance of like, maybe this is wrong. I feel like we should have a bigger... Again, she has like left tons of people to, oof. So I feel like to an extent, maybe this is me being a little nitpicky there, but, still, in the end, Rhea was something this episode, and I think the plot armor she had kind of just drained out a lot of what made her good this episode. Thank you, Yule. You are a savior for making Rhea enjoyable. So then we have to move on to Jake. And truth be told, the only reason Jake's really down here is how the episode kind of frames him, and also because he was an idiot in the Rhea situation. We're gonna start from there. So in the Rhea situation, he knows Rhea did this, and he also knows that Rhea is very manipulative. So when Ellie walks off mad, she's not smart for believing that, but again, Ellie is coming up next. But still, instead of being there and pulling a Connor like, I know what you did, and then doesn't tell anybody, maybe, I don't know, tell Ellie and make her think? Especially if you want to go against Rhea. From a game standpoint, you want Ellie on your side either way. So at least try to get her back on her side with logic, because both of them know not to trust Rhea. And Ellie is trusting Rhea, so prove to her to not trust Rhea. Oh my gosh. And next is the Ellie and Jake talk. Warning, sensitive topics are going to be spoken ahead here. You can skip to the timestamp shown on the screen to skip this. Overall, from the promise, to me it doesn't make sense that they be open with each other, especially Jake. First off, I'm happy Jake got better. I'm really happy for him and all of that. I'm gonna make that clear. However, it doesn't make sense why Ellie is the first person they learned this from, especially how much they've been fighting. And again, I'm not gonna forget that Ellie loves big for air food. So in the end, it doesn't make sense that Jake is rolling the information specifically to her. And again, they were just bickering episode before hugely. It makes no sense for them to be this close. In the end, I would believe a lot of this conversation a lot more. I'm not being at that point. Like, it feels more realistic in a sense if it was with Miriam or say Connor maybe too. But it's with Ellie. And again, it's nice they were open with each other, and it was a really interesting scene to learn more about both characters. But then again, in the context of the show, it doesn't really make sense why it's happening between these two. I hope I worded this right. Again, I was not trying to find any of the issues going on here. They're very sensitive, and I hope I talked about them with respect. Alrighty, so moving from Jake, mainly, again, I did not like the way he was fully framed, but that's another topic for another day, I suppose. Those entire season does revolve around Jake. That's also another topic for another day. But either way, moving on to Ellie. Ellie, as I stated earlier, was more likable this episode, mainly because I did like her dynamic theory, and overall, she just felt a lot more likable. With her lines and how she acted, just again, a lot more likable. Except in that Rhea conversation. Ellie, you idiot. Ellie, no. to trust Rhea now. So, wouldn't you think that Rhea maybe, I don't know, scheming? Again, I don't think Connor ever bothered to tell Ellie that, it was Rhea who destroyed the game, not Jake. So maybe she still thinks that Jake ruined it and is still like, I don't know. But either way, Ellie should have known to not do this. Ellie should have known that Rhea was probably manipulating her. Ellie should have. I don't understand why she didn't other than plot armor, but either way. Additionally, again, as I stated earlier, the conversation between Jake and Ellie they don't have enough build-up to it because they have been fighting the episode prior tooth and nail. And yeah, even though if they want to complete Connor's promise, that doesn't institute such a close and open conversation, you know what I mean? Maybe this is just me, but I feel like it kind of wasn't built. Maybe that's just me again. I like her Fury dynamic, but the only thing I will say here, maybe this is definitely more of a nitpick, but Abby, why did you not use Fury? The other two had excuses. Yule and James. Jake got out James, no. But Fury is one of the smarter chances in the entire series. I use that, but either way, I guess that's personally nitpicking. And I think when we talk about Ellie, I can't hold it off any longer at the elimination. We went for a Gabby this time, and you don't want to go for a Gabby elimination. Like, gasp! First off, yes, we did see the rip in the bag when Rhea again threw the rock as stated earlier. However, shouldn't that mean the gems fall out of the backpack? Or there is gems falling out, or at least shown gems falling out of the backpack? Since that is not shown, it can be, implied that the gems were still in the backpack, even with the hole, but turns out, no? I don't even know at this point. It just felt like more plot armor, just really obvious plot armor. And additionally, I guess there's some positive, but it was kind of sweet how she wanted to help Jake regardless, etc., etc. But still, otherwise, Ellie this episode. It's hard to really say much on her otherwise, because I think I've said in previous reviews, rants, or whatever, as much as Ellie needs to be said, but again, I will say here, she was more likable. I did enjoy her Fury half the time, and she was just sweeter, and I liked her dynamic with Jake somewhat. Again, it felt a little rushed, where she was, an idiot. But either way, yeah. Now we can move on to the conclusion.
How can any of you be rooting for Rhea? There was more room on these bleachers.
Overall, this episode to me is definitely better than the episode 14 to 18 stretch. Maybe not 15, but either way, it still had its positives to it, but I do think the negatives. Overall, the production and some of the finalists definitely outweigh those positives. Alrighty, these are just my thoughts though again, and I would love to see and read yours in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you again on the channel. Bye everybody!